Hello, my name is Abdurman, and I'm a member of Weston Library's Youth Advisory Group. Today I will be interviewing Margaret as part of Weston Library's Centenary project. Margaret is a former employee of the Toronto Public Library and the Weston branch as well, and I'd just like to thank you for coming in today. When did you first arrive at the Weston Library?
Well, I arrived in Toronto in 1954 when I was 14 at high school from Scotland. And we moved to Weston for the first few months. And I went to high school in September, so after I'd been in there a couple of years, someone came to the school and said the library was looking for someone to type the catalogue like a student, because that's the class I was in. So I came down and I guess I was interviewed, can't remember that. And so I worked there until I graduated from high school for 2.5 years doing the cataloging. And every day after school, for 2 hours and 2 hours on Saturday morning.
And you've lived in Weston ever since?
Well, for 4 years when I was first married, I lived over in Wilson Avenue, pretty close.
Yeah.
Been in 2 homes in Weston.
And has Weston changed since 1954?
Yeah, in some ways, there was no apartment buildings then. There was only the one on John Street. There was a small one there. It was there, but nothing on Western Road.
And cataloging, since because of technology, it must be like extremely different from the way it was back when you were working here at the Weston Library. So, to what extent has the library system changed, the library system itself?
Well, completely changed, I would say, from typing up cards, and there was about 4 different cards, 4 for nonfiction, and then one last for 3 for fiction. And they're all in these little drawers, little filing drawers that if you want to look up something that you had to look up. They were done by the decimal number, or they were done by the author, or they were done by the title. So there was a lot of ways you could look up books then. And then we had a date right on the end of a pencil that we would stamp the book back, and write the stamp, and then put the card, and then stamp the card.
So it's much simpler now.
Yes,
Easier to find books. What kind of work, other than cataloging, what kind of work did you do here at the library?
Well, pretty well, that was my job. Occasionally, because they had other students that were pages, called them pages then, that did in the stacks, shelving books and putting them away. And I would do that occasionally if they were short, but most of the time I just was there to type.
And did you go to school in Weston as well?
Yeah, Weston Collegiate.
Weston Collegiate?
Mm-hmm.
Go there now too.
Yeah.
So, how was your experience in general in the 50s and the 80s in Weston Library?
Well, when I got the job in the 80s, my husband said, "I can't believe they're paying you to work in the library," because I've always been a great reader all my life pretty well. And of course I enjoyed it then in the 50s because there was no list of new books that you could request, but because I was cataloging, I knew all the new books, so I could get them out right away.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it was. Both times, even in the 80s, when I came 89, that was one of the real perks, even before we were computerized.
Yeah. So are there physically, the Weston Library itself, has it changed physically?
Yeah.
I know there was a renovation.
Yeah, the addition, this is part of the old part right here. This was the children's library down.
Oh, here in the basement?
Yeah, right here. It was always in the basement. Of course, there was no addition.
Yeah.
And then we used the entrance that was closed up. Now that was the way in.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about the services offered by a library? Of course, books are number one. Other than that, videos and
Video started when I was here. Started in '89. We had no videos until shortly after I started, and they were a real pain.
Yeah.
There was, of course, lots of overdues. People would come in sort of 5 minutes before we closed to see if there was any videos back to get them. So we didn't think there should be videos in libraries at that point.
How about policies and procedures when it comes to checking out books?
Yeah. Well, in the 50s, it was 2 fiction and 2 nonfiction for 2 weeks. That was it. Then, of course, in '89, we had sort of a microfiche thing or something under the photograph, your card and what you were taking out.
So were there any library cards back in the 50s?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a yellow one.
Oh.
A yellow one. Yeah, we did have cards. Forgotten that. Oh yeah. And it was put in a little flap in the back.
So was it easy to keep track of books, or?
I think so. I think because you only had 4 out, like people, the library, like the librarian, she was the boss. You weren't even, no one was allowed to talk in the library. And she said you couldn't have it, you couldn't have it.
Yes. So those are all the questions I have for you today. Is there anything else you would like to share with us?
No, I don't think so. Not really, because in the 50s, of course, it was Weston, the village of Weston.
Yeah.
And then when I started back again, it was the city of York, and then we were amalgamated.
City of Toronto.
Yeah, city of Toronto. But it was the city of York.
Yeah.
Then became, so there were changes, and computerization, I think, was the biggest change.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. We all learned at the same time.
So did the system change as it went from the village of Weston to the city of York to the city of Toronto?
Yes, it did. Yeah, so it was the village of Weston. They closed in August for the whole month, so the librarian could have a month off. And then the city of York, we were more like just a few branches, and it was more like a little closed event too. But then when we went to the city of Toronto, that really changed everything.
Yeah.
And the whole system changed then.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the Weston Library?
Yeah, I'd like to wish the library a happy 100th anniversary, and hope they have many more years to serve the community of Weston.
So I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Youth Advisory Group and the Weston branch. And I'd like to thank you for sharing your story as well. And here's a token of our appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.